And we're back. And we just fished that. And we're back. And we just finished watching Wonder Woman 1984, currently streaming on HBO Max. It is directed by Patty Jenkins and from a script by Patty Jenkins, Geoff Johns, and David Callaham. The movie clocks in at 2 hours and 32 minutes, and it feels like a long movie. I will come right off the bat and say I really, really wanted to like this one a little bit more because the first one was so spectacular. Unfortunately, this one falls very, very flat.
Well, let's just ask everybody.
Let's go around the table and get everyone's impression. G, what did you think of the movie?
I knew that I liked the first one better.
Yes, you kept saying that.
This one was aimless for a while, like a long portion of the movie.
Yeah.
Not like the first one, like you said.
It really had no sense of direction. What about you, Olive G? What did you think of the movie? You can be honest. If you really liked it, you can say that.
I hate it.
Do you?
That's strong.
That's strong.
I hate it. I love the first one better than the second one. Sure, the suit of golden armor was cool,
It was cool.
Mm-hmm.
but seriously, this was just complete garbage.
All right.
It wasn't
That's a little harsh,
garbage.
That's a bit harsh, but yeah.
I get what you're saying.
It wasn't
Yeah, I
garbage.
mean, I feel like
but
yeah, it was just I mean, for a movie that is 2 hours and 32 minutes, I feel like more should have happened. It should have been more streamlined. It should have been more focused. I could not understand
Really,
anybody's
what's going on?
what was going on, why it was going on.
This film, you know what, like throughout the entire thing, or more so, like I guess when things start really spiraling or snowballing.
Even then, it just didn't get my
The movie
attention.
felt to me like the embodiment of the meme. Well, this escalated quickly.
But it really didn't, because it took a long time to get where.
No. I'm just talking about from when like the bad guy does his thing to when the world is basically just gone completely to hell.
Hell, yeah.
It was just like all I could think of was why. Why is this happening? Why does it just didn't make sense to me?
Yeah,
I understand the whole be careful what you wish for thing. I mean, I don't want to
give too much away.
Let's not give spoilers. How about at a certain point, maybe after we've given a basic discussion, we'll talk about things that could possibly be spoilers.
Okay,
and we'll
fair
warn
enough.
people. Okay, that now we're going to get into spoilers. But right now, I just want to talk about the basics of it, and
it wasn't good.
it
let's
wasn't
just
good.
be honest
I mean,
here.
I really tried to find good points in it, but it just like G said, it felt aimless. Like the first one, it was like, okay, this is the quest. This is what we must do.
Right from the get-go.
Right from
Right.
the get-go. Here's
Right.
the action. You move from some exposition to action set piece. A little bit more exposition. Action. The typical superhero movie that we all like. We enjoy this sort of thing.
And also, in the beginning, there was a lot of kissing.
in the beginning, the one was summoned
All right.
back.
Yes, the cooties were in
Like,
full effect.
What the hell?
And yeah,
Come on, man.
and
You can at least slow
there's
it
the
down.
there's the whole thing. We're not spoiling anything by saying, "Oh, Steve Trevor returns," even
it's
after
in
being blown into a
commercials.
million pieces at the
Yes.
end of. Okay, spoilers for original Wonder Woman. Steve Trevor gets blown apart in the first one, but
Yeah,
now
there's
he's.
no way he could have survived.
Now he's back,
not at all.
and there is a reason which we'll go into later, which also opens a whole can of
worms.
moral worms.
Yes.
And you're just like, why
What?
is Wonder Woman going along with you're Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
I understand
You're
you
all about the
miss
truth.
your boyfriend, but still, you shouldn't be doing this.
Yes.
And like, it wasn't even like she was unaware of how Steve got
Right. No,
brought
she
back.
knew.
She knew
From
the
the get.
entire time
Yeah.
from the get-go, and it was just like,
Yeah.
I miss you so much.
We'll just
Steve.
let it slide for
Yeah.
now.
Just let it slide.
And also, she caught him eating a Pop-Tart in bed.
Yeah,
That was a funny
Pop-Tarts
scene.
and things.
Yes.
Well, I guess if I
No.
wasn't around when Pop-Tarts were invented, I'd probably
Go all
just
in.
go
Pop Tarts
all
are
in and
delicious.
start eating them wherever. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, It's so disappointing because the first one really was just beautifully done. I agree with you. The script on the first one's stronger. The story itself of where it starts to where it goes. You understand the machinations for each character, even the villain. Here, it's weird because you have two villains, and I don't know if that maybe took away from it, but it was almost like you felt sympathy for Maxwell Lord and you felt sympathy for Barbara Minerva because Barbara Minerva's whole motivation was, I'm tired of being like cast aside and mousy and overlooked. Ignored. Exactly. So that was her motivation. And Maxwell's was, I want to be the type of man that my son will be proud of, and I want to give him all the things that he deserves. I want to be the most successful guy. Right. Which isn't a bad thing per se, but like they were saying in the movie, like how in order to get the thing, you also had to sacrifice something. And sometimes you didn't know what you were sacrificing in order to get the thing, the wish. Yeah. But I feel like at the core, this could have been a lot better.
I think if there was just better pacing and it just had better like set pieces. I mean, I feel like the trailer kind of gave it all away.
Most of it, yeah. Yeah.
I really didn't see anything in the movie that I didn't see in the trailer.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
It wasn't when you watch these movies, superhero movies. Yeah, they'll show you some exciting bits and whatnot, but when you actually go see the movie, you're kind of blown away.
Right. And
this was everything was given away. And another problem was, I mean, I like character interactions, but there was a lot of just wordiness to this, especially at the end.
Yeah.
At the end, you know, the hero says something, and usually it's like straight to the point. Sometimes it pulls your heartstrings. This was just really trying way too hard.
Yeah.
Like The Good Dinosaur?
Yes, like The Good Dinosaur. It was really trying to get those heartstrings, and even like right at the end with like Maxwell Lord, I guess we were supposed to feel something for the guy, and I like Pedro Pascal.
Feel bad for him.
He's a good actor, but
Mandalorian season 2 was phenomenal.
Yes.
Thank you, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni.
Yes, thank you very much.
But this was it was just trying too hard, too much. There were just so many bits where they were too slow and just clumsy. It was clumsy.
It was very clumsy. It meandered a lot. I agree. Like G said, it was aimless.
And this is like kind of shocking for a film that was so delayed.
Right.
This thing was supposed to come out
last year,
November, like around Thanksgiving time.
Right.
Thanksgiving 2019, before the plague happened.
Yeah.
And they sat on it because of Star Wars. Big mistake. Because Star Wars was a turd.
Right.
And then
I gotta be honest, if I had seen this at the end of 2019, I would have held this movie, even though it's a weak movie, I would have held this in higher regard than that last Skywalker movie, because that last Skywalker movie was atrocious.
Such a crushing disappointment.
Yeah.
But let's
that's another podcast.
But they had this thing, I guess, sitting on a shelf for a year. They couldn't have used that time to just be like, all right, let's tweak this thing, get the pacing a little bit better, get the dialogue a little bit more snappy, better joke. I mean, there were some good bits of humor in there.
There were.
Especially with Steve, the man at a time, trying to get used to the 80s, which are already weird enough as it is.
Is this the portion where we start giving spoilers? Because I'd like to delve into that. Because I personally, I mean, I don't think I'm giving anything away because, like you said, it's in the trailer. I could have done without the Steve storyline completely.
You know what?
Yeah.
I think that
hurt the story, to be honest.
You know what I think? I think that they needed basically the story was get Steve back in there somehow and let's weave a story around that. And I don't think that this story would have existed at all if it wasn't for that edict.
But you know what? They could have done it in a different way. He could have been like a family relation, how the girl in the Captain America movies was her great niece or something.
Yeah, but everybody was like, that's icky.
Agreed, but family members look like family members. And it didn't have to be icky. It could have just been a thing where
that wouldn't have worked for me. They should have just moved on. Steve's dead. All right, if we have to have a love interest, find somebody else.
Or
it's just weird.
Or, to your point, they could share the name, but it could be a completely different actor. She could hear, like, somebody say, oh, Steve Trevor joined the museum. and he works in the science lab, and then she
something
goes.
I don't, they could have won.
And all of a sudden
they
it's-
really could have won $1 million.
It could have been.
It could have been.
Handsome guy. Did you know that according to IMDb, the other Steve Trevor is handsome guy, which I think is phenomenal. And lazy writing. Sorry.
That's like what was it? What was that movie where the person was just called like Boy or something, and we were just like
The Witches.
The Witches.
Yeah, he didn't have a name. I was
Hero
like, what?
Boy.
Jazir. Yeah.
But anyway, okay. So before we get into spoilers, let's just wrap it up as far as like our opinions. I did not enjoy this movie. I
wanted to like this more.
I really maybe that's what hurts it even more is that I really wanted to like it, and I thought the trailer looked really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly,
Yeah.
in my opinion, all the cool bits that you are hoping to see
Are
in
just
the movie
watch them in the trailer.
expanded upon.
Yeah.
They're not expanded upon. You saw them in the trailer.
Yeah.
The rest of the movie is some
Nonsense.
just bad humor, not ridiculous. Some of the humor is good, but most of it is just like meh. A lot of just amazing leaps for people to take. Like, it's just like, what the hell is going on? Why are these people acting so crazy? I understand there's some weird supernatural stuff going on, but to go from a cup of coffee to global thermonuclear war is deranged.
Yes.
And it's like in the course of a couple of days, maybe 2 days.
Yeah.
It's just, so that, yeah, and it goes too long. It's 2 hours and 30 minutes, right?
32 minutes.
2 hours and 32 minutes.
And it felt like
And
2 hours
it
and
really
32 minutes.
felt like
Yeah.
it. There were large portions of the film where I was just like, please,
What is going on?
something happen.
Please.
Somebody get punched.
Yeah.
Somebody do something.
All right, can we talk about what could have made this movie better, or should we now pause and say we're gonna do spoilers now, because I really want to get to that.
Did I sum up our opinions of like everybody's opinion?
You know what, Olive G, did you have a favorite part of this movie?
No.
Did you have a favorite character?
No.
G, did you have a favorite part to this movie?
No and no.
No and no.
right,
Did you have a favorite part?
A favorite part.
Well, I would say it's funny when he was eating those Pop-Tarts in bed.
You thought that was fun? Okay, what about you?
Honestly, the best part that I thought was cute was the little girl in the mall. She had some great facial expressions.
Yeah. I gotta be honest, I didn't have a favorite part. I didn't have a favorite character. The only thing that I took away from this movie, and I think I mentioned this in the beginning, was, they really got the feel of the 80s in this movie.
For the most part.
For the most part, yes, agreed. It's not as fantastic as the guys that do Stranger Things, because I feel like you really get a sense of that period in time. But I think they do a good job with the art direction should be commended. The costume people need to be commended on this. The people that did the research even like the promo that Maxwell Lord cuts, it felt very 80s.
Oh yeah.
He's on the boat with all the bikini ladies. Yeah. Yeah, so I think
had this weird hair.
I think for the look of the movie, like, it's pretty spot on. I mean, the only thing missing, agreed, was the big hair. There wasn't enough of it, right?
Yeah, and you know what's
Like
strange? I felt like
shoulder pads.
I felt like
hair.
I felt like they were leaning more into the 80s in the beginning of the movie than they did
towards
as
the
the
end.
film went on.
Yeah.
Like even with the music.
Yes, agreed.
Like at some point, it was like we stopped using the sounds of the 80s, or an 80s influence sound or score.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it was just like Hans Zimmer.
Well, he is the musical guy on this movie.
Yes, that's what I mean. It was like orchestral suddenly, and it was just like this. It's like, did you forget what you were doing in the beginning?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know what? How about this? We'll do the numbers, and then we'll go to the spoilers. So a 1 to 10.
I would give this a 4.5.
A 4.5. G, what 1 to 10?
And before G says her number, as far as I'm concerned, this is a hard pass. If you haven't seen it, don't bother.
If you haven't seen it, watch the trailer. You'll be
watch the first one again.
Or watch the first one and then just watch the trailer, because the trailer shows you.
1 to 10.
This movie could have been better, but since the first one was good, I'll give it a 5.
All right in the middle.
Yeah.
What about you, Olive G?
Olive, what would you give?
5.
5.
I'd give it a 4.
Yeah.
Because average would mean I didn't like it, and I didn't like this movie. And It was disappointing.
To me, 5 is ambivalent. I could
5
take it
is
or leave
ambivalent.
it.
I genuinely didn't enjoy this.
Didn't enjoy this. That's why. Yeah, I gave it a 4.
Like if I saw this on cable TV, I would zip right past it.
Right.
It not only was it just not good, it was additionally bad because it was disappointing when you watched the first one.
Right.
And you saw what Patty Jenkins did. Great movie. And this one, she's still in the driver's seat, even has more control because she's got a writing credit on this one now. And not that great.
Yeah, I for the nostalgia, I wanted to like this more, but I just couldn't. I didn't understand what was going on. It meandered way too much. It took way too long to do all the things that it needed to do. Maybe it should have just had one villain where you could focus on one. I think that was the thing about the first one, and that's why I'm kind of surly about this one, because you see that it could have been better. If the first one was that good...
The first one technically did have more than one villain. It's just that they didn't have superpowers. Well, actually, no, that's not even true, because we snorted up that magic Nazi cocaine and he suddenly had superpower.
Magic
Dating
Nazi.
is That's one way to describe it.
Okay, so now we're heading into spoiler territory. If you don't want spoilers for Wonder Woman 1984,
please
just turn off the
this
podcast
off right now.
But now we're going to get into it, okay? First big spoiler, the way Steve returns.
Yes.
There's a MacGuffin in the film. It's some sort of crazy ancient crystal that grants wishes.
To rock.
It's basically rock with some Latin writing around it, and it's
in like metal, and it came from a god of lies or whatever.
Well, we find that out later through some ham-handed exposition.
Yes.
But basically, what happens is you make a wish and it comes true. And the first wish, the guy wishes for a cup of coffee and he gets it.
Boom.
Oh, that's cute. Okay. And what happens is, of course, Diana is, even though it's been like 100 years since World War I when Steve died. It's the 80s. That's right. It's the 80s, right? I'm thinking 2020. Okay, so
it's like 60 years.
60 years, okay? Yeah. She's still pining away for Steve. She doesn't have a social life. She, goes out to outdoor cafes and drinks a glass of wine by herself.
Yes.
She stares at a plane.
Stares at planes going, is that Steve? So she wishes for Steve to return.
And lo and behold,
he returns. But initially when she sees him, he looks like another man. He's Handsome Boy or whatever his
Handsome Man.
Handsome Man.
That is his screen credit.
But then after a couple of revolutions of a camera, it's Steve.
Chris Pine.
Here's the thing. Handsome Man was a human being.
Yes.
He had a life of his own. And Steve knows this. Steve is basically living in his apartment now.
Yeah.
Stalking Diana, trying to get...
But it's weird because I turned to you and it was like Quantum Leap, because inside he's Steve. I guess he's possessed this guy. But on the surface, he still looks like Handsome Man.
Well, only through Diana's perspective and Steve's perspective, he looks like Steve. The only time you see Handsome Man is when Steve looks in a mirror.
Right.
So I'm not sure if everybody else sees Handsome Man.
I am assuming everyone else sees Handsome Man.
I'm guessing everybody else sees Handsome Man and only
Diana and
Steve
see
Steve.
But Steve also sees Handsome Man because when he looks in the mirror, he doesn't see Chris Pine. He sees
Handsome
Christopher Polaha.
Man. Just call him Handsome Man.
Handsome Man.
Handsome Man.
And that's the problem because Diana, once it's all revealed, Diana knows what's going on, and she knows that Steve knows what's going on, and yet they are perfectly fine.
Well,
with
are they? Because
this man's life.
Well, are they? Because Steve is the one that put the kibosh on that. He's like, you know what you got to do, and she fights him.
No. That happens way later when they find out the truth about the stone, that you have to renounce your wish, which means Steve disappears. Because basically what happened, the stone is basically a monkey's paw. You make a wish, you get your wish, but some sort of unforetold misfortune will happen.
Has to come.
So it's Diana's wish, Steve's resurrection, but it is sapping her of her powers.
Right.
So in order to save the world, she has to renounce her wish. But to renounce your wish means to say goodbye to Steve all over again. Right. And that was another just ham-fisted attempt at my heartstrings. Yeah. That scene where they're like in midst the chaos and they realize they have to say goodbye to each other. Yeah. And then he just busts out with the line. It's like, oh, you don't have, it's not really goodbye. I've been gone forever.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm already gone.
I'm already gone. And it was just like,
What?
What is that supposed to make her feel better? She's basically killing you again. So
actually, he killed himself. He went suicide first.
in the
That's
first
true.
one, he suicided. Yes,
Yeah,
but
Suicided.
yeah.
Yeah, but
That's
this
new.
one, she actually kills him.
Yeah, she
So
snuffs out his life with a few words.
So, and she walks away crying as he says, "I'll always love you, Diana." And yeah, that just sort of taints Wonder Woman's image because honestly, it's great, there's unintended consequences, but as soon as you find out that you are basically stealing another man's life, I think the thing should be, Steve, this is great, but this can't be because this man deserves to have a life. And that would be the moral thing. That would be the thing that Wonder Woman would do. But no, it's, I want my boyfriend.
And it sort of ties in with what you see in the beginning, where her aunt says you have to live in truth.
You have to live in truth. Exactly. Right. You can't cheat your way into success. And that's where we get Maxwell Lord's entire philosophy. He's basically failed businessman who's built up this image of being this grand success, when in actuality his office building is completely desolate. He's got like one secretary.
He sits on a throne of lies.
He's like trying to like win the approval of his little son. He realizes that he figures out this wishing stone is real, and he does some crazy shenanigans where he basically gets the power of the stone to grant wishes.
Do you think this script was supposed to be an indictment on our current administration, I wonder?
I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going on. This was not a strong script.
It was not. It was not.
There was just too much meandering going on, and then you could have had like I think maybe if they got rid of Maxwell Lord, but then you could have focused more on Cheetah, Kristen Wiig's character, which was an interesting thing.
You know what? I was going to say she was the best thing in the movie.
Yes.
She was the best thing in the movie.
Her character made
sense. Her whole motivation made sense. The fact that she was unwilling and unrepentant about her wish made sense.
No, but the thing is that all she wanted was to be strong, like Diana.
Right.
Not realizing that, of course, Diana was Wonder Woman, and basically by saying, I want to be strong like Diana, she gave herself superpowers. She made herself as powerful as Wonder Woman. The cost, because everything had a cost, was her humanity.
Yeah, she lost herself.
So basically, at the point, it wasn't. She never had a chance to be repentant. She had already lost that. There was no way she was going to be repentant or take her wish back or any of that stuff. And that's why at the end of the movie, of course, she's defeated, but we got to shelve that bad guy for later. She never takes her wish back.
She doesn't.
No, because she is unrepentant.
But it's funny because on the plane, she wanted more.
She wanted more.
She wanted more, and that's when she became Cheetah. So is she back to?
She's back. In my mind,
back to Minerva 2.0?
Yeah, because she didn't look like Cheetah at that point.
She didn't.
No,
she looked like Barbara, right? Yeah. But was she still? Because she made 2 wishes.
Yeah.
No. The second wish was Maxwell Lord's wish. He granted because he basically would take somebody else's wish, and then the price would be a wish for him. Mm-hmm. So he was like, you already got your wish, because everybody only gets one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But at that point, everybody on Earth was like wishing like crazy.
But wait, didn't she get a second wish because then she became Cheetah?
Yes, she did.
Maxwell Lord made her that. She basically just said, I want to be the strongest apex predator. And he basically said, it's done. Because he had that power to give people wishes.
Because he was the stone.
As a price from somebody else. So somebody else's wish fueled turning Cheetah into Cheetah.
Yeah, didn't you hear him say, like, give her your rage?
Yes, he actually says that. He's like, give me health, give me strength, give her your rage. He actually says that.
Right, you're right, yeah.
So that's why when he renounced everything, all of the stuff that he had granted
went away.
Disappeared. The nuclear missiles disappeared. That's another point we're spoiling here. But Maxwell Lord somehow causes basically chaos. All world powers to suddenly have nuclear missiles and go nuts and about to fire them at each other. And once Maxwell Lord's power was gone, that cheetah-ness of her disappeared, and she was Kristen Wiig again. But she still had the Wonder Woman strength, because that was her wish.
Right.
And she wished for that before Maxwell Lord ever
And she never renounced her wish.
You never hear her say, I renounce it.
Right.
Because why would she? The price of her getting that wish was renouncing her humanity and everything else. At that point, it was just like, I'm strong, you're weak. It's not about treating me fairly.
Right.
It's not about that anymore. It's about me dominating you.
Right. She became a different person. Yeah.
She became a different person. She wasn't the mouse.
Yeah, you know what? I almost wish that, as much as I adore Pedro Pascal, and he did a decent job here.
He was great at playing that hammy con man from the 80s.
Yes, but I really wish they had just focused on Barbara's character.
I wish.
I think it would have been. I think it would have made the story better. It probably could have moved better. It just felt too clunky, like they were trying to put too much stuff in, and it felt like it just, I don't know, like I never felt attached to anyone here. Usually with a movie... You
know what, maybe they just felt like they needed a bigger world-ending threat for her, and if they would have just stuck with Cheetah is basically a really strong woman, and not really a world-ender. She's not going to threaten the safety of the entire Earth. She's pretty much a direct threat to what's in front of her. Whereas Pedro Pascal, Maxwell Lord, had the ability to put the entire Earth in peril. And I'm guessing that's what they needed. They needed that extra oomph.
But they still could have done that. Because, I mean, maybe to not to that degree. But I think by Barbara losing her humanity, you now have this component of a villain who doesn't value human life. Because like you said, her whole motivation was, I'm strong, you're weak. I'm the dominant one, you're not. Because her whole life she's been overlooked and ignored and weak and whatever.
Stepped on, yeah.
So in that respect, that would have made her more powerful in a way. And the fact that she was unrepentant adds to that. And I think if they had focused solely on like Barbara versus Diana, this could have been a better movie. Because then you have these two almost two sides of the same coin, right?
Yeah.
Because
and
they're basically...
I really wish they had done that, because I don't need the world to end in every single superhero movie I watch. Sometimes it could just be a more personal thing.
Right.
Two foes fighting each other.
Right.
And that would have been wonderful. That would have been perfect. You don't
need to add this added layer.
Save the massive world-ending event for the big team movie.
Right, exactly.
Which DC tried to do but failed because they rushed it,
Right.
Give us, give us just the hero and a villain from their rogues gallery, even if it's not Ares, like threatening all of humanity.
Right.
This would have been fine if it was just Cheetah.
Yeah.
And Cheetah...
And I think that could have made the story better. If they had just focused on...
And there are so many ways you can go, because you see them become friends.
Right.
And there's that whole thing where Wonder Woman, could be torn about, fighting her friend and wanting to save her friend from this weird mutation she's going through.
And you see shades of what makes Barbara the way she is, the way she's interacted with, the way she's constantly ignored. Yeah. Even the woman that hired her the week before didn't even remember her. So you get that sense of like, here's this woman who kind of lives in quiet desperation for love and affection, which she never gets. She has a crush on that Jake guy in the office who doesn't even know she's alive. But all of a sudden she puts her hair down and she wears a short skirt, and all of a sudden people notice her. All of a sudden she's all charismatic and whatever. She's not a wallflower.
And she was a nice person. She gave food to the homeless guy who knew who she was
by name. So but I think that's, if they had focused on that, because those moments were lovely, like what you just said, like when she gives the homeless man the food and just her trying to interact with people, and you feel the awkwardness of it, and you feel sympathy when she's consistently
you see that she was a good person,
right.
And I feel that sort of got washed away in order to facilitate this Maxwell Lord story. Who they were also trying to say, deep down he has a core of goodness in him through because he loves his son.
Right. Yeah, I think this movie could could have been better if they had just focused on the Barbara Minerva character. And it could have been like a fight between two sides of the same coin. I think... Yeah. I personally didn't see the Steve Trevor storyline needing to be there either.
Seriously, I didn't need to see that either.
Yeah. I like Chris Pine. He's always a treat to watch. He did a decent enough acting performance here, but it wasn't necessary to the story.
It really wasn't. I mean, I'm compared to like Captain America. Peggy wasn't in Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
No.
They didn't need it. It was just like, let's stick to a story.
Right.
And, the main focus of it was Cap and Bucky there,
Yeah.
I mean, there were some world-ending events going on, but there wasn't a character associated with it really or anything like that. It was just...
But Marvel's really made the template of how to do that
well. They know how to tell a tight freaking story.
With
and they
multiple characters.
And they know how to mix the exposition in efficiently with the really just amazing set pieces.
Yeah.
But this
not so much.
Not so much. It was just the slog.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because if you look at the first one, the first one is just so well done. I mean, from start to finish, that movie, for an origin story, for a female lead superhero, for something that's done in historical content, I think that movie, top to bottom, was just magnificent. I remember seeing it in the theater, and when we were leaving, turning to you and like, wow, that was way better than I thought it would be, especially for a DC movie. So, yeah, I think that's the thing that makes this one so much more disappointing. I mean, there were some spectacular, again, the art direction, the costuming on this thing was phenomenal. That the beginning sequence with the young Diana was interesting.
That was actually a very good sequence when she's doing that weird triathlon contest or whatever.
Yeah, and that was good. And even the ending when Antiope, when the Robin Wright character pulls her and doesn't allow her to cross the finish line because she's like, you cheated and you can't. Shortcut. Yeah, you took the shortcut. Right. That was powerful. And it sort of ties in with the other parts of the movie, but not enough to make it interesting. And I think it would have been better. Again, Pedro was great, but Maxwell Lord shouldn't have been in this movie.
No.
It should have been Barbara versus Diana. It should have just been Barbara versus Diana. Make it simple. And again, there were some really good elements. You see how people interact with Kristen Wiig's character, and that it worked, and that if they had fully developed that would have been more interesting. Also, I want to give a shout out to the hot as a fox Linda Carter. What?
Yes, after credit scene, little cameo by the original Wonder
Woman. Yeah, she looks. She's got to be 70. She's got to be 70, and she looks like a hot 40-year-old. So
she looks young. She looks younger than
it's funny. It's funny when they did the little teaser during the movie of her being the one that fought in that armor first, and I saw the eye. I saw her eye, and I was like, "Is that Linda Carter?"
Yeah, I was like, "God dang it! Did you already guess it?" Because I had read the spoilers, because I don't care about spoilers. If I want to see a movie, I'm going to watch it.
I've been watching Wonder Woman since I was 3 years old.
I had a Wonder Woman doll.
Yeah, my sister had the Wonder Woman doll.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I loved it. That was a great
bendy legs that would click hard.
I mean, okay, not to get off on a tangent, but can someone please bring back ISIS? And not the terrorist group. I mean, the two.
You really shouldn't have said it like that.
Let me clean this up. Oh my god. There was a show on Channel 2.
I know what you're talking about, but I'm sorry, the name of that show will prevent it from ever getting aired on television.
I know. Well, can somebody bring it back with a different name? I don't know. Call it Anubis or something. I don't know.
Bring back ISIS.
But that was a great show. I mean, I don't know if anybody out there watched it in the 70s like I did, but I thought it was so freaking awesome. Also kind of like Wonder Woman. She was like a goddess who came and she was like, what was she, like like an archaeologist or something going on adventures? I thought that was really great. I even had like a sticker book of it. I remember. I really enjoyed that. So if somebody wants to bring that back, take my money.
Just give it a different name.
Please give it a different name. Anyway, so bringing it back.
Yeah,
is there anything else we want to add?
No.
Not really.
Yeah.
Just it was disappointing.
It was disappointing. I mean, if you want to see it, you know our thoughts. I mean, it's 2 hours and 32 minutes. It's on HBO Max.
It's free.
It's free
if you have
HBO Max. So, I mean, if you are fiending for some kind of entertainment, I guess, but I feel like you should pass. Hard pass. Go see the first one again. Yeah, that was brilliant. All right, that's it from us.
Good night.
And we will come back with another review soon. Good night.
Good night.
Night.